What we need to realize as auctioneers is that the greater clarity a vendor has about the auction, the less anxiety they're likely to have about the process. Now guys, the biggest thing that causes so many of these unnecessary issues is the fear of the unknown. So what I'm going to go through with you is the process that I talk through all of our vendors with so that you can get a bit of an understanding as to what you need to be going through when it comes to the mechanics of the auction. And believe me, this will make your vendors feel a lot more at ease because essentially the auction result is binary. It either sells or it doesn't. So these are the mechanics that we're going to go through with you now. So when we're explaining the mechanics of an auction to a vendor, we always ask this question first off: have you ever sold at auction? Reason why is two things. One, we don't want to assume any intelligence, but also we don't want to teach them to suck eggs either. So having that level of understanding is a great way to start things off. From there, we talk about the mechanics from go to woe. So when we start an auction, guys, we have to do that open for inspection 30 minutes prior to, so all of the relevant paperwork and legislation is on display. Then when we get stuck into the auction, I've got to go through some set things as per legislation here in Victoria or whichever state that we're in, and making sure that everyone understands the particulars of sale. Then what we do is we get everyone fired up and revved up and ready to go and call for that opening bid. Now guys, do not stress about where that opening bid may be, whether it's from me as a vendor bid or whether it is from the buyer. Chances are it's going to be quite low. So don't stress about where the auction starts because in no way, shape or form does it have to be where it ends. So we'll be pushing as hard as we possibly can to get as many bids as we can before we call a break on the auction. Now, when we do call a break, when the momentum slows down, you're going to have a bit of a decision on your hands. So out of all of this, you've got a few scenarios. Firstly, we've unfortunately had the worst case scenario and we've not had any bids out there from the buyers. In that case, what we would do is place a vendor bid at a level that will allow the listing agent and their team to be able to negotiate at an effective level for you moving down the track. The next scenario is that we've got a genuine bid there in play. However, it is still a bit of a distance away from your reserve. At that point, we'll perhaps look to end on that genuine bid, so at least we've got ourselves a chance of going one-on-one in the negotiation. This next one is where you're going to have a decision on your hands. If we are very close to reserve, we need to assess the risk versus the reward of perhaps going on the market slightly earlier. Now that can be determined by a number of things, but mainly it's done by the number of buyers that we've got active in the audience right now, the level of competition and the amount of fight that we've got in the crowd, and the amount of fight that is left in the tank that our listing agent believes is out there ready to go. One thing you've got to understand, guys, is a lot of buyers will not do a thing until the property is on the market. And what we want to create is ultimate fear of loss. Now, you can do whatever you want with the reserve. At the end of the day, it's your property and your call. But we're here to assess risk versus reward. So if it's worth the risk of dropping down a few thousand, the reward can be there and it goes straight past the reserve that you originally set out to achieve. Now, the next one is the fact that we've just gone past reserve or we've just met reserve, and all I'm doing is to come in and confirm with you that we're on the market and we're into the bonus round. And the last one, and this is the best one, is if that we've sailed past reserve. You won't hear from me, but you'll hear from the listing agent that will come in and make sure that you're happy to go on the market. Then that way, I can stay out in the crowd and not have to worry about breaking momentum, and we can roll this thing all the way through to the final result. Now guys, that is the sort of script that I like to go through so that it leaves no stone unturned. Any questions, you need to get in touch, or you need to make sure that you ask your vendors at least if they have any fears about the auction. My name's Andy, this is The Craft. We'll see you next time.